How does a VPN protect me? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. Question. So there's a lot of talk about using a VPN to hide what we do from our ISPs, and you've mentioned using it when using open Wi-Fi. So just how and what are the protections of this versus just connecting through my ISP? What limitations does this have? Can they see what I'm doing, like using a BitTorrent, and that it's coming from my account? A VPN, or virtual private network, is one approach to securely connecting to a remote resource. Depending on the VPN, that privacy can extend from one end of the connection to the other, or it can protect you only for a certain portion. I'll describe the certain scenarios and how you are, and perhaps are not, protected by a VPN. All right, let's look at no VPN at all to begin with. You're at an open Wi-Fi hotspot, connecting to a remote resource like your email or your bank. The connections are all unencrypted. That includes the connection from your laptop to the wireless access point, aka the hotspot, the connection from that wireless access point to the ISP providing the internet connection to begin with, the connection from that ISP to the rest of the internet, and the connection from the internet to the specific service you're using. The largest area of concern is the connection from your laptop to the Wi-Fi access point. That open Wi-Fi signal traveling through the air can be sniffed or read by anyone in range with a laptop and the required software. Lately, however, there's been additional concern about the fact that your ISP can monitor what you're doing. Specifically, they can see every remote site or service you connect to and examine all of the unencrypted data you exchange with those servers. Okay, that was a key word, unencrypted. WPA encryption. The traditional approach to protecting yourself from open Wi-Fi sniffing is to use the WPA encryption built into the Wi-Fi protocols. You'll see that here. This secures the path between your computer and the Wi-Fi's access point. Hopefully, honestly, that's how your home Wi-Fi is configured to prevent nearby homes or others from connecting to your Wi-Fi and through it to your network. There are problems with using Wi-Fi. Most open hotspots at coffee shops, airports, and elsewhere don't use WPA at all. The password requirement would confuse their customers more than it's worth. That's why these hotspots are called open. When WPA is used, it protects only that connection between your computer and the Wi-Fi access point. Everything past that point in the diagram shown remains in the clear. That last point is important because all the traffic is visible to the hotspot's owner should they care to peek, and to the internet service provider to which that hotspot is connected. All right. To protect yourself further, we bring in a VPN service. A VPN securely encrypts the entire path from your computer to the VPN provider. No one along that path can see your data. Not the other Wi-Fi users, not the people managing the hotspot, and not the hotspot's ISP. For open Wi-Fi or other situations where questionable security, such as connecting to the internet at a hotel, a VPN can be a great solution. But it's still not perfect. There are a few things to note. The connection is only secured to the VPN's servers. The connection from the VPN provider servers to the final destination is once again unencrypted. That means the VPN provider, as well as any other networking equipment along the rest of the way, can see your data and at least see which services you're connecting to. You're adding steps between your computer and the server you're accessing. The practical effect of this is that your connection becomes slower. How much slower varies depending on the VPN service you're using, its capacity, and the service, of course, that you're trying to access. Not all VPN services support all protocols. For example, your web browsing might work, but your attempt to use BitTorrent might not. Not all remote servers allow connecting through VPNs. One non-security related reason to use a VPN is that it can make you appear as if you're in another country. As a result, many services, such as streaming video services, block connections from known VPNs. And finally, not all governments allow VPN connections to services based in their countries to effectively censor what their residents can view. Using a VPN, the ISP you're connecting through can't see that you're using BitTorrent, for example, but the VPN service can. Your ISP would still see that A, you're using a VPN and which VPN service you're using, and that you're sending an awful lot of data. True privacy is achieved with end-to-end encryption. Unfortunately, it's not possible in many cases since the service you are connecting to must support it. However, HTTPS is end-to-end encryption. Connections you make via HTTPS are completely encrypted along the entire path from your machine to the remote server you're accessing. That's why banks and other services that allow you to access sensitive data should be using HTTPS. Similarly, if you're configuring an email client with POP3 or IMAP or SMTP, choose SSL or TLS. That's the underlying encryption protocol used by secure connections like HTTPS. That way, your email uploads and downloads, as well as your login information, is completely encrypted along the entire path to your mail server. Note, however, that even when using HTTPS, your ISP can still see which sites you connect to. Only a VPN can hide that information from them. All right, just to complete the picture, if you're using a VPN and you connect to an HTTPS website, your data is doubly encrypted for part of the trip. You can see that here in this image. The VPN is protecting our data between the computer and the VPN service. HTTPS is protecting the data between the computer and the service to which you are connecting. Now, there's really no practical harm in this scenario. The one benefit, of course, is that the VPN prevents your ISP from seeing which site it is you're connecting to. So, with the proliferation of HTTPS connections and Wi-Fi hotspots using WPA, VPNs probably aren't quite as necessary as they once were. However, now that you understand exactly what they protect you from and what they don't, you can make an informed decision as to whether or not a VPN is right for you and your situation. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/4668. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.